I've always felt that if you remove transactional sales from a business and you focus on actually building business, that everyone, to your point, flourishes and thrives and is collaborative.
Welcome to Thrive by Design, the podcast for ambitious, independent jewelry brands looking to profit from their products. Get ready to make more and sell more doing what you love without spending every single waking minute doing it. Hey, and if you're a creative, fashion, or product-based business, I want to welcome you to the show. I'll be dropping big tips on launching, growing, and scaling your business so you can spend more of your precious time using your creativity to make money. You ready? All right, let's do this. Welcome to the Thrive by Design podcast, episode 205. I am so excited to be here today because I'm talking with Ashkan Asgari from Dream Diamond, and I'm excited about this episode because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things, rose-cut diamonds and responsible sourcing. And this episode has been something that was really fun. In fact, one of our students, she's a graduate, she was working with us in our high-level coaching program a few years back. And Mary Geraldine of Garden of the Sun sent me a bunch of recommendations of people she thought I should interview for the podcast. So for sure, if there's anyone that you'd like to hear on this show, please shoot us a little recommendation over at support@flourishthriveacademy.com because we really do listen to you. And this was such an amazing episode. In fact, I'm really excited because now I have a new supplier for rose-cut diamonds. And I think you are going to too. The stories and everything that Ash talks about in this episode is really wonderful. And it's really designed to help you kind of consider like where your materials are coming from. And Ash is going to share with you how Dream Diamond came about and how he sort of became partners in this business, and also how they kind of trace responsibility and trace where the diamonds are coming from, which is pretty awesome. Before I dive into today's episode, speaking of high-level coaching programs, we just welcomed a bunch of new people into our SOS coaching program, and I'm so excited about it. And I would hate for you to miss out on an opportunity to actually elevate your business and get your online game up and running. Because here's the thing. One of the things that I even talk about with Ash in this episode is how they're using different platforms online to actually sell diamonds and really bust the old ways of doing business. And what we're up to in our SOS coaching program is to help you reach more customers by using your website as a tool, to be able to dial in all of your digital assets so that they're working together to get you more sales overall. So if you have a business where you're selling direct to consumer and you're spending a lot of time at shows, this program is pretty amazing to help you kind of leverage your time better. It does take some work, but we help you to kind of get people buying from you through your website in between those shows. So you're not always reliant on all the shows in air quotes to build a business. If you're selling wholesale, we teach you how to basically create another revenue stream in your business so that you're not just banking on wholesale orders, because we know that wholesale is an amazing way to grow your business, but it is quite competitive these days. In fact, a lot of retailers are no longer buying wholesale. They're requiring the designers to provide inventory for the store, and designers are only getting paid once the product sells in many cases. And so we really wanted over here at Flourish and Thrive, help support you in your product-based business, in your jewelry business, to help you, diversify your income streams so that you're building a business that is recession proof at the end of the day. So if you're interested in learning more about our SOS coaching program, I'd love to invite you to just get on the wait list. You can head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/SOS now. Jump on that wait list, and the next time we open the doors, you'll get an invitation to fill out an application and to jump on a strategy call if the application fits. And I say that because, this is a really amazing group of designers. It's not for everyone, and we definitely protect the culture of that community, but we love inviting new kick-ass, ambitious designers into that circle because we're here to make a big difference in your life and your business. I'm about to dive into today's episode. I'm going to do a quick intro of Ash. We'll have all the links for dreamdiamond.com in the show notes. So make sure that you head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/episode 205. And we talk about where you can find Ash at the end of the episode. And we'll have all those links in the show notes as well. The thing that I love about Ash is that I asked him for a short bio, and here's what he wrote. He's a 36-year-old father of 3 and a professional diamond slinger who grew up on the jewelry trade, son of a 3rd-generation jeweler, caffeine addict, outdoor adventurer, and lover of all things shiny, building a small diamond wholesale business on big dreams and convictions, which I'm sure you're going to see into today's episode. You're going to see all that revealed. So let's dive in. Well, I'm taking a different spin on the topic for today's episode, and I have a special guest with me, Ash Asgari. Ash, you run Dream Diamond, or it's your company, or it's a family company. Fill me in.
I'm a partner in the company now. I joined in 2010 as a sales representative, and I worked my way up into a partnership over the last 9 years.
Okay, this is so cool. So I wanted to have you on the show for a couple reasons. First and foremost, Mary Geraldine of Garden of the Sun provided an intro, and she's like, you have to talk to this guy, Tracy. He's like doing some great things in the industry. So I was like, cool, I'm always looking for a new guest. And one of my biggest pet peeves in the world is the old school jewelers and vendors who refuse to get with the times, get a website, and make it easy for people to actually buy from them. And so you guys are doing some really interesting things. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today and talk about the kind of diamonds you supply and who you typically work with and many, many more things. But why don't we start there? Tell me a little bit about your journey into the jewelry industry personally and how you kind of got involved with Dream Diamond.
It's a kind of a long path. It's my dad is somewhere between a 3rd and a 5th generation goldsmith. It's the history lines kind of get blurred somewhere along the way, but I grew up in the trade. It's like the child of many immigrants in North America. Child labor was a part of my upbringing. So yeah, I just spent my childhood helping out at my dad's shop from the time I was 8 or 9 years old. And my dad did a lot of production work. So he did manufacturing and custom design for jewelers. And he also ran a small retail operation. So I think I could say gold dust literally is in my veins from how much of it I probably breathed in while I was working in the back of my dad's shop as a kid.
You got some residuals in your lungs.
Yeah, definitely.
Gold dust is in my veins. Oh my gosh, I like that. That's a quotable.
Yeah, it's I grew up in the trade. I always kind of, as a result of being forced into it, I rebelled against it. I was a theater kid and a poli-sci kid growing up, and I took a break from being in the industry, and then in 2007 came back to help my dad out for a bit, and always was more interested in the diamond side of business. And one of my vendors had a small operation in Toronto where he was just kind of in semi-retirement. He had moved out there in 2007 as well. And one day I just kind of walked over to his office. We had only met twice before, and I knocked on his door. And I kind of was like, I would like you to formally teach me everything about diamonds. And he kind of looked at me, and he didn't really bat an eye. He was just like, all right, cool. Show up at 4:30 every afternoon and I'll teach you more, which is unheard of in our industry, which is all smoke and mirrors and very secretive. And for some reason, this guy was just like, yeah, I'll teach you more. And that's kind of how I met David, who is my partner now. And the rest is history.
That's so awesome. Okay, so you are like really at the forefront of selling diamonds to wholesalers online using your website and Instagram as a tool, which is awesome. And from what I understand about what you're doing, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're really kind of at the forefront of responsible sourcing as well when it comes to diamonds. So my question for you is, how can a designer really know that they're working with vendors or dealers who are, number one, legit, who say what they're going to say, and also who offer tracking from the stones? Because, you know, like the Kimberly process kind of, you know, there's a lot of misunderstanding about what's really happening there and a lot of cloudiness. But from my understanding, you guys are offering certificates of origin for the stones that you provide.
Our industry is a funny industry. It has always been a bit of a cloak and dagger kind of trade. And one of the things that when I joined Dream was important for me from the beginning was being able to offer single origin sourcing. It is an incredibly difficult thing to do in our trade. There are very few processes and provisions created to allow for single origin sourcing. So for every single parcel of stones that we can offer, what country it came from, for us to be able to offer that, we're usually doing anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half worth of detective work to track down these parcels, to find the documentation that can be provided to assure us that these are indeed Canadian or Russian or South African rough. And it is an ongoing hurdle over here. It's still an industry where so much is done by, verbal words of assurance or just letter. And it's kind of been one of the biggest problems we've had growing as a company, has been trying to find ways to overcome this and just trying to find people who are willing to work with us on it. Most of the industry has kind of long since been like, it comes with Kimberly process, it doesn't have origin, and that's that. So this has been the ongoing battle for us for the last 3.5, 4 years, is trying to work our way up the supply chain and find reputable sources that can offer us origin on our diamonds.
That's awesome. Are you using blockchain at all, or is it just like you're going straight to the source?
I haven't tackled blockchain. I actually was having an interesting conversation when I was at the Tucson show with Robin Gambier, who is the founder of Fairtrade Jewelry & Co. in Toronto. And he was actually quite vocally against the blockchain being seen as this savior to the industry. And he's been speaking at a whole bunch of the ethical jewelry conventions in the States and saying that it doesn't fully address the needs for what we would have to have in place to be able to assure traceability in diamonds. So it's kind of been a bit of food for thought, and we've been looking around, but we've just been pursuing the sources through our own means, through our buyers, through our connections, through our network. My partner has been in the trade since the late 70s. So he has been cutting, cleaving, sawing, manufacturing loose polished diamonds for quite some time. So leveraging his network quite a bit.
Awesome. Yeah, I know Robin. He's an awesome guy, and he's like super vocal. Are you coming to Chicago for the Chicago Responsibility Conference?
I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. I've just been trying to keep tabs on it and follow it, whether it's through social media or online, to follow the movement and follow the conversations, because this has been something that's definitely been piquing my interest and something that we care about.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about the kinds of stones that you carry, and because everyone who loves jewelry and loves making jewelry and loves designing jewelry and loves buying diamonds loves to geek out on stones. So let's talk a little bit about the stones that you guys offer at Dream.
It's a pretty wide offering. It's funny because although nowadays, if you ask people, we're known for rose cuts, we've been in the industry for a long time, and our bread and butter was kind of your traditional certified white and natural fancy colored diamonds. Mm-hmm. And then in 2014, I went to my partner and I said, you know what, I want to move out to Vancouver. I feel like the industry is changing and there's some paradigm shifts happening, and I want us to be able to adjust as well. So I want to step away from our traditional business and start moving towards something that is different, that I think was a bit more in line with the shifting trends. And I had, just being a bit of an art kid, I had always been into the wonky stones and the weird stones. And I would see diamonds with strange inclusions and kind of wax poetic about them. And my traditional customers would roll their eyes and look at me as if I was from another planet. But I had a lot of friends who were in the design community, and they had always, we had always seen eye to eye on it. And so for 5 years, I went to my partner and I said, we should start carrying these rustic diamonds and these salt and pepper diamonds. And he always refused, because when he started cutting and getting into the production side of the industry, this was the material that would be removed from the rough and cast on the floor to be swept up at night. And so he refused to carry it. And so for 5 years, I went back and forth. And one of my good friends, when I moved out to Vancouver, her name is Susan Shaw. She's a partner in Attic Gold in Toronto. Her and I had always liked the weird and wonky diamonds. And she kind of contacted me to say, listen, can you help me find a salt and pepper diamond? And I kind of took that as, you know what, instead of just buying one salt and pepper diamond, I'm going to just take a leap of faith. And I ordered a couple of parcels of these stones. and forwarded the invoice over to my partner. And I said, hey, we're carrying this product now. And that's how we got into carrying what is kind of known as alternative diamonds. So highly included rose cut and brilliant cut salt and peppers, opaque to semi-translucent, fancy color diamonds, which fall under the rustic diamond range, as well as collection quality rose cut white and champagne diamonds.
Ooh, I love that. The champagne diamonds, just like, they're my favorite. So what about these gray diamonds that I keep hearing about?
I saw my first gray diamond, I think it would be somewhere around fall of 2013. And this 2.18 carat gray oval showed up, and my partner had purchased it on a whim. He's a bit funny in that he had always taught me to look at diamonds instead of looping them right away. He would say, look at the stones with your naked eye and see, how do they speak to you? Because diamonds are, he would put as, it's a shiny rock. It's something that it's fantastical. It's not defined by SI1G triple excellent. There's so much more to it. And so he had seen this gray oval and said, this is kind of cool. And he purchased it for our stock and he shipped it over. And I fell in love with it. They can be so moody. They definitely shift colors depending on ambient light, going from dark charcoal and slate colors all the way to light silvers. And they just captured my imagination. And they have definitely been my favorite fancy color diamonds category since then. And we're constantly on the hunt for them and trying to find them.
I love them. Is there a special story or anything behind them?
Oh, you know what? If I had Michael or David on hand, they are the two I always turn to for the technical information with regards to the crystal structure and the trace elements that cause them to take on the color. I'm always the guy on the other end who's just making the operation run. So I can definitely get back to you on that. But unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to give you the answer today.
No worries. Okay, cool. So you guys have made it a point to kind of be sort of on the cutting edge from the vendor spectrum. It's like as jewelers, I think it's now more important than ever to get your products online and to be able to sell direct to consumer from our perspective, because, the industry is changing a lot. It's changing every day. Wholesale accounts are harder to come by. Actually, the wholesale accounts that actually buy your product up front are harder to come by, I should say. More and more stores want to put products on memo. And it becomes more expensive over time for designers to grow their business and keep things going. And so with that being said, you're almost like, I feel like on the cutting edge of like the vendor side, because most vendors don't have websites that are functioning where you could log in and actually buy product from the website. So where did that decision come from? And how are you keeping it updated to, really, I would say like attract more customers and make it easy for people who are looking for something to find you?
That came from a few different places and it all culminated together. Having been in the trade for a long time, I've seen the benefits of working in the memo system and I've seen the drawbacks of working in the memo system. But also, I've always been very successful at sales. And there were times where I would have very enthusiastic customers and they would commit to a very big purchase. And so the client would commit to X amounts of dollars worth of diamonds and they would buy it because they felt enthusiastic. And suddenly they would get hit by a drought and they would be stuck with this capital they couldn't move and it would freeze up their business. And, having that kind of product in stagnant inventory just inhibited them from being able to do other things that would have benefited their company because they didn't have access to their money. So the concept for me was, how can I create a system where my clients anywhere have access to our inventory in a medium where they can create business and they can create sales using our inventory without necessarily having to put their capital into our product. So I was like, if we were to commit to uploading images, videos to scale with, accurate depictions of the stones, specs, and whatnot, our clients would be able to create business using this because more and more businesses are existing in a digital space. More and more businesses are creating business long distance with customers that aren't necessarily local to them. And I think more and more buyers are getting comfortable shopping online. So the idea of purchasing off of images and videos is becoming very comfortable to the new generation of buyers. So that was my way of saying this is a way that we can give additional value to what we do as a business by going to our customers and say, we're not here to shove product down your throat and to force you to buy. Let's work together to build a sales pipeline. And by having our inventory available, it allowed us to do that. Our industry is very secretive, and pricing in our industry is actually quite fluid. You could go to a vendor in diamonds or gold or finished jewelry, and if they need to sell product, the price is one thing. If they don't feel like selling the product, the price is another thing. If they read you as a green designer who isn't that well connected, the price is one level. If they read you as someone who has been in the industry for decades and is very well connected, the price goes down. And so by having pricing online, we kind of had to say, we're going to cast away with this fluidity of pricing and just commit to one pricing for all our customers across the board, regardless of if they've been in the trade for a month or if they've been in the trade for 30 years. But I think a lot of people responded well to that, and the ability to be able to create business without necessarily having to put their money into stone inventory. They're free to promote, to market, to invest in other things that will drive business to them and still be able to create the stone sales together with us.
I love it. So great. And I think that what you guys are doing is really remarkable for this industry. And you know what? I felt that before, like going into a vendor and I'm like, what's the price? He's like, oh, let me do some math. And then they're punching on the calculator and you're like, why isn't there just why is it not just there? You know what I mean? And I feel like they're like judging, how much you buy from them and all the, all those things to
always. Yeah, you're always getting sized up from the second you walk into the room. And it has benefits and it has drawbacks. And for people who grow up in the trade and are versed in the kind of the negotiation dance, it's a comfortable place to be, to rarely take that first price and to bargain and to negotiate. But a lot of clients don't feel comfortable doing that. And so we decided, let's cast away with this. Let's put a markup that we feel is healthy for our business and is fair, and just keep it at that and try it out. And people loved it. So we're sticking with that.
That's awesome. And so you're doing a lot with Instagram too. So how are you using Instagram to grow the company?
Well, lately, Instagram's algorithms have been keeping me up late at night and giving me an identity crisis of like, what am I supposed to be doing? But Instagram was a funny accident. When I was going back and forth between Toronto to Vancouver, I had been kind of going to meet all the local businesses and approaching wholesale in the old school pound the pavement sort of way. And I remember one evening I was just having a conversation with some friends, and one of them was talking about some clothing that she purchased on Instagram. This would have been back at the beginning of 2015. And I was kind of surprised. And I said, oh, you can purchase things on Instagram? And she said, she doesn't like going to shop for things in person, doesn't like dealing with salespeople. So she would look for brands that spoke to her and either purchase directly from their website or if they had a brick and mortar after she had sort of vetted them. And so I kind of was like, I wonder if there's any jewelers online. And I went on Instagram and it just blew my mind, because this is an industry that kind of from the early 2000s to 2015 and a little bit even before then, there were no young people coming in the trade. It was just stagnant. There were no young people buying jewelry. There were no young people in the trade. No one wanted to be here. And it was just people over 45, 50 buying jewelry. And most of the people who were selling it were the same age. And suddenly there's this brave new world of young designers everywhere by the thousands who were using social media as a platform to launch their businesses, who were doing this digitally. And I kind of looked at it, I said, instead of targeting all these stores who don't really see eye to eye with me about how business should be done, why don't I work with the new generation of jewelers who are coming in the trade, who I identify with much more. And I feel like I had a bit of value having grown up in the business and kind of seen all the different components. Why not help build a new generation of stores and retailers and boutiques and designers? And by working with them to build their businesses, our business grows as well. And that's how Instagram started. It was kind of 4 or 5 months of me sitting in the office posting pictures of diamonds and praying that I wasn't about to sink the company. But then it just took off. And I remember one of our local designers over here Andrea Rokas of Army of Rokas gave us a shout out on Instagram. And suddenly we had 300 new followers from California who were her friends. And one thing led to another. And that kind of collaborative, embracing community, which is the total opposite of our industry on the old school side of it, just welcomed us with open arms. And it took root. And here we are today.
It's so great because I feel like that sense of community that you're building as a vendor is exactly what we've been doing for years over here at Flourish and Thrive Academy. And I think that it's just so powerful. Like when we can come together and share resources, it doesn't become a competitive thing. It really becomes a collaborative thing where we all grow and I'm not to be cheesy, but flourish and thrive, which is the way things grow. I opened up Instagram as you were talking because I wanted to go on your account and a video started playing. So I just like literally threw my phone so that it would stop. I don't know if you heard that, but
missed it completely.
Okay, good. You have like some really stunning stuff. I'm excited to buy from you. Really excited. So is there anything else that you guys are excited about over there?
You know what? It's over the last year and a half, we have been really working on our production cycles for cutting and polishing salt and pepper diamonds. Mm-hmm. And that has been a lot of fun. We've really kind of improved. We went from what we were buying product for from vendors in North America to being able to produce higher quality material and makes and stones and sell them for less than what we used to be buying them for. And so that's been a lot of fun over the last year and a half. And this year, we've been working with our vendors and we've been sending our buyers and to major buying centers, trying to work our way up the supply chain for our sourcing, but to get material for doing clear white and champagne rose cuts. So we just had our first parcels cut of those, had those with us on our Seattle-Portland road trip that we just wrapped up last week, and they were pretty well received. So stoked to get that product online and to continue cutting stuff that basically we kind of salivate and drool over and dance every time it arrives and get that product out to everyone else.
That's awesome. I can't wait for you to come to New York so I can start taking a look at all the stuff you're doing because it's stunning. Where can everyone find you? I mean, obviously, you're for the trade. Well, actually, I have one more question before I ask that question. I'm on your Instagram and you're doing collaborations with jewelry stores and designers. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was back to similar reasons to why we made a product available so clients can work with it. I've always felt that if you remove transactional sales from a business and you focus on actually building business, that everyone, to your point, flourishes and thrives and is collaborative. And when I was doing wholesale from 2010 to 2015 in Toronto, as profit margins for diamonds dried up and retailers stopped stocking diamonds as much, a lot of wholesalers, just to be able to make ends meet and to be able to continue to create sales, started selling directly to the public. Mm-hmm. And it's understandable why they would do that, but I saw how much it affected the retailer's business. And so I kind of took that idea, and what I looked at with Instagram was, what if we were to take a very strict, we only wholesale to the jewelry trade approach, but instead of just being very secretive and just not speaking to the public at all, why don't we engage with the public on this very public platform? And if we can help direct traffic and attention to our clients and send people towards them, that in turn, in the long run, feeds back into our business. And so, we build business together with our customers. And that is kind of the direction our Dream DM feed has been evolving towards, where we're constantly featuring designers that we work with and the product that they make with our stones. And it's that way when someone from the public reaches out, I can comfortably direct them to someone and say, you know what, I think their aesthetic would speak to you, or they're local to where you're at. You should go reach out to them. I think you'd be a good fit with them. And so, it's been a way of us giving back, and it's been feeding back into our business in a very positive way. So it's been pretty awesome.
That's amazing. Well, I'm excited for you because I love the rings that you're doing in collaboration. And I love that you're actually like featuring. I think it's a great way to create brand awareness and collaborate with the vendors that you work with. So great work. And I'm so happy that we got the intro because I think you're going to be working with some new designers soon.
Amen to that. I'll never say no. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So tell everyone where they can find you, where they can follow your Instagram feeds, and also where your website and everything.
So we have 2 Instagram feeds. We have our Dream DM Ltd feed, which is open to the public. We never post pricing on that, but we'll be featuring designers' work. We have a tagged post section on there where designers who create pieces with our diamonds usually tag us in their post, and we direct a lot of the public traffic over there. And we'll announce kind of new products, and if we're doing trips, you'll find that on Dream DM Ltd. We have a second feed that is just for the jewelry trade. It is Stop and Smell the Rose Cuts, and there we'll kind of offer first dibs and preview pricing on new merchandise coming in. And when we have flash sales and special deals, it'll be on there. You will need to provide references, jewelry trade references if you're there. We are accommodating to student jewelers as long as they can provide letters from professors or proof of enrollment and whatnot, but that feed is for the trade. And our website is www.dreamdm.com. And again, all our inventory is posted there with downloadable images, specs, and to have access to pricing, you just need to create an account and have trade references, and we can get your account approved, and you have full access to everything you need.
Awesome. Well, I think I already followed you on all of them with both accounts. So I'm excited to start shopping from you because it's going to be amazing. Thanks so much for being here today, Ash.
Thanks for having me, Tracy. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for listening to the show today. I hope you enjoyed it. And make sure that you go check out dreamdiamond.com. And I'm saying it wrong because it's DREAMDIAM.com. It's not the whole word diamond. And we'll have all the links and everything that Ash spoke about in the show notes. And if you haven't done so yet, I would love for you to share this podcast, give us a rating and review, because what that ends up doing is help push this show up in the ratings and helps share the show with other people like you who are running jewelry businesses or fashion or product-based businesses who are trying to get their brand out there. Thanks so much for listening. Take care till next time. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. It's my mission to help thousands of creative businesses inside and outside the jewelry space use their creativity to make money. Make sure that you're subscribed to Thrive by Design on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever podcasts are played. And we'd love to hear what you think. Please rate and review the show. And if you're inspired, please share this with your friends. Cheers to seeing you flourish and thrive.